The following program is underwritten by the generous support of Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis & Lipan Insurance. Since 1852, they have been assisting both businesses and individuals across the country secure the most comprehensive insurance products available. Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis & Lipan are one of New York's largest independently owned insurance agencies. Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian-American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcomed. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. You all set, Joel? A regular town board meeting. It's August 5th, 2019. The time is 7 p.m. exactly. The first item on our agenda is a public hearing. Caroline? Pledge of Allegiance is the first, yes. And Catherine, Councilwoman Catherine Atherton will lead the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You don't need to speak. But, okay. So, the first item on the agenda is a public hearing. And Caroline, would you please inform the public of what this hearing is about?
This is a proposed public hearing to enact a local law of 2018 to establish a temporary moratorium on installation of ground-mounted solar energy systems.
Okay. So tonight is a public hearing on securing a temporary moratorium, and it's a public hearing about setting the moratorium. It's not a public hearing on the proposed law on ground-mounted solar. When we develop that, we will have public hearings on it. But until we develop it, we want to play it conservative and just have a moratorium if that's the will of the public and the board. So, before I open this to the public, are there any thoughts or comments on behalf of town board members?
No.
Okay. I will now open to the public a discussion on this resolution to establish a temporary moratorium on installation of ground-mounted solar energy systems. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak to this proposed moratorium?
Is that for a year?
6 months.
No, it is for up to February 5th, 2020, or earlier, depending on when, we get a law together that we're comfortable with, and then we'll have a public hearing on that and get some feedback. And then we may redevelop it to what we think is good for the public. And so so this is February 5th, 2020 or earlier. Warren County Planning Department has considered this proposal and found that the project would not create any significant intermunicipal or countywide impacts. And on or about July 23rd, 2019, the Queensbury Planning Board considered the proposal and advised that the moratorium should clarify that the moratorium should clarify whether the ground-mounted solar energy systems are commercial or residential. And we're gonna be looking at both, I believe.
Yes, it includes both. It's all
So-
ground mounted. So if we can be more specific and, more detailed
Yeah.
instead of.
If that's a concern, that's what we understood. The
Yeah.
thing is, we can add those words in here. Let me find where to add that.
Just including commercial or something like that, because commercial is ground mounted. It falls into both.
How about, if you want to clarify what your intention was.
If that was a comment from the planning board?
Well, the
Well, it's from the
planning
planning board.
board,
In section 3, we could add
here's what,
after systems in the second line, whether residential or commercial,
That's fine.
right? That just says, I think, what your intention was.
Yeah, it clarifies.
And that also meets the planning board's concern about making it clear.
Sounds good.
Is that,
Yes.
yeah,
Accepted.
That was in the law.
yes, in the local law, in section 3, the first sentence after
well,
ground-mounted solar energy systems.
was asked if they would support us going forward with a moratorium to develop a law
Right,
about ground-mounted solar.
yes.
And the way it was written was kind of awkward. I think they do support this.
Yes,
And the question about commercial or
that's why it's gonna say whether,
residential.
it says on there, it says in the proposal, the moratorium proposal that it just says ground mounted solar, but we could say whether, Bob is suggesting the language, whether commercial or rooftop.
I mean, if our planning board has
Ground-mounted,
this
or
question,
ground-mounted.
a member of the public could have this question,
Yes.
and the zoning board of appeals could have that question.
Yep,
Yeah.
So make the question go away,
correct. Good.
so it's not an issue.
Okay.
So-
So, last time, for everybody out there, anybody like to speak to the moratorium, proposed moratorium on ground-mounted solar energy systems, including commercial and residential?
I have one more.
All right, George?
George Winters, 4 John Clinton Road. Is this going to interfere with putting solar on the dumps?
I don't think so,
Yeah.
because if they're talking about it now and they're still doing and finishing up their evaluation, they're at the point where they haven't given us their evaluation. Last I heard, just a few weeks ago, they were looking into connectivity. In other words, they're gonna communicate with National Grid to see, if substations are needed, if so, what kind, what type, who would install them, is there any grant money for it, or things like that, I'm assuming. So that's gonna take some time. I expect that we'll have some kind of a law in place before those ground-mounted solars get to be discussed. And even though when they come before us, that's gonna be a 6-month or a 1-year thing anyways.
Oh, okay.
By the
Yeah.
time you have the public hearings and you iron out what everyone's concerns might be and things like that, so,
Yeah, because I believe the solar on the dumps and stuff like that would be a great idea.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right. Seeing no further public comments on the matter, I will close the public hearing. And unless there's further town board conversations, I'll entertain a resolution to approve
With that,
With the.
Amendment.
With that amendment.
with the, as amended.
So moved.
All right, moved by Councilwoman Catherine Atherton, seconded by
Second?
Councilwoman Jennifer Switzer. A roll call vote on this, please, Caroline.
Councilpersons Medivere?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Switzer?
Yes.
Stroud?
Yes. All right, well, that's it for our public hearings. The next, we have 7 resolutions before us. I will go through the resolutions. Any member of the public that wishes to comment on the resolutions will be given the opportunity to do so. Now, if you have a town issue that's not related to the resolutions before us tonight, I will give you an opportunity to bring that forward to the town board later on in this meeting. But this part of the meeting specifically deals with the resolutions before us right now, and there are 7 of them. So Caroline and I will share the 7 resolutions with the public and describe them. And like I said, at the end of my description of the 7 resolutions, we'll open a public hearing for any comments on the 7 resolutions before this board tonight. So, Resolution 3.1, Caroline?
Resolution authorizing advertisement of bids for sale of obsolete equipment.
Okay. These are items no longer needed by the town or considered to be obsolete. They'll be going to Gov Deals to dispose of. We have a dump box from the Highway Department, iPhone 6S from Building and Codes, Samsung cell phone from Water, Galaxy S6 from Water, and an iPhone S from Building and Codes. And if this board approves and authorizes the advertisement of these, they'll go out to bid on Gov Deals. Okay, that's 3.1. 3.2,
Resolution authorizing release of escrow funds to Tri-Town Development, Inc. in connection with dedication of Cross Court and Richmond Hill Drive and Behringer Heights subdivision.
okay. Thank you, Caroline. The final pavement of these roads in the Behringer Heights subdivision has been done. The Highway Department has gone out and approved them, and they did have to make some slight alterations. It still wasn't making it into that drain. So, Highway Superintendent David Dool explained to the developer that we're not happy with the drainage on that particular drain, and they had that redone. Dave Dool is now happy and has approved us going forward for our consideration to release the $125,000 that and interest that's sitting in escrow for the final pavement of this project to Cross Court, Richmond Hill Drive roads. And this is in the Behringer Heights subdivision, a Tri-Town development. And the sum will be $125,000 plus any interest. Resolution 3.3.
Resolution authorizing award of bid for purchase of pickup truck for town water department.
Okay, so this is for a 2019 or newer 1/2 ton F-150 or equivalent pickup truck for the water department. The award goes to Metro Ford Sales. So for a 2019 Ford F-150 short box 4-wheel drive pickup truck for $24,321.06. And it's also authorizing any ancillary equipment needed for the truck to make it water department ready for a total amount not to exceed $1,500. So if the board approves that, we can go ahead and buy that truck and the ancillary equipment up to $1,500. Resolution 3.4.
Resolution authorizing town clerk to submit Apex Capital LLC's petition for change of zone application to Queensbury Planning Board and requesting Planning Board to seek lead agency status.
Okay. The town board has a pile of material related to this. Apex Capital, or better known as the West Mountain Ski Area, has made application for a change of zone. And it has submitted to the town a site plan review, which will be done by the planning board, not this board, for expansion of the West Mountain Ski Area parking lot, construction of a zip line attraction, and approval of existing mountain biking venue. So these applications have been reviewed by town planning staff and deemed to be complete for the purpose of review. So we would like this to go to the town planning board for their site plan review. And we would like the town planning board to be the lead agency for seeker review. They will give us a recommendation as part of this process for the zoning change on 2 lots that are adjacent to where they are. It's adjacent to their current parking area. And the 2 lots, are asking to change from moderate density residential to recreation commercial so that they can use them as additional parking. As some of you know or may know, parking gets so crowded at the site that sometimes they're parking on West Mountain Road. So the added parking is needed. They do have stormwater plans, they do have buffering plans, and they do have other things being proposed. But if the public wishes to speak to that, the proper forum would be the planning board when they do a site plan review. So this is basically asking for the planning board's recommendation on the rezoning and their review and their acceptance as the secret lead agency. Resolution 3.5.
Resolution authorizing acceptance of grant funds from the Fund for Lake George toward establishment of Rockhurst Sewer District.
All right, well, before I do these next 2 resolutions, why don't I share with you a letter the town board sent to the Fund for Lake George. I think it sums it up nicely and will better give you a background as to why we have the next 2 resolutions, 3.5 and 3.6. Dear Fund for Lake George staff and Lake George Fund Board of Trustees, we deeply appreciate being the recipient of this year's Irving Langmuir Award. As we all are aware, Dr. Langmuir helped inspire our emerging consciousness of our ecological impacts that must be addressed and remediated. The town of Queensbury will go forward as a progressive municipal leader in protecting Lake George's environmental integrity. Also, the town board and residents of Queensbury very much appreciate the 2 grants you recently awarded to Queensbury at this year's Fund for Lake George annual meeting. The Water Quality and Clarity Grant of $25,000 for the establishment of the Rockhurst Water Management District and $30,000 to the North Queensbury Wastewater Disposal District. We are highly respectful of the dedication and steadfastness that the Fund for Lake George has had towards the assurance of our common mission to protect Lake George's water quality and flora and fauna habitats. Please be assured that we are strongly committed to the continuation of our long, productive, and prosperous partnership with you. Thank you, the Queensbury Town Board. Okay, now that is a lead-in to our 2 resolutions. 3.5, Caroline.
That one I read. You want me to read it?
Oh, did you already do it? Okay, so that is $25,000. This is a resolution for this town board to accept the offer from the Fund for Lake George for $25,000 towards the engineering costs and the preparation of a map plan and report for a Rockhurst community wastewater system. And 3.6, Caroline?
Resolution authorizing acceptance of grant funds from the Fund for Lake George toward North Queensbury Wastewater Disposal District Number 1 system upgrades.
All right, these are the 71 properties around Dunham's Bay that form the North Queensbury Wastewater Disposal District. And the Fund for Lake George has also dedicated $30,000 in a form of a grant to the town to help that district provide money for septic system upgrades for those within their district. Okay, so again, thank you to the Fund for Lake George, $55,000, and we will make sure that that money is put to good use protecting Lake George. Resolution 3.7,
Resolution approving audit of bills, warrants of July 25th and August 6th, 2019.
all right, 2 warrants, run dates of July 25th and August 1st of 2019, and payment dates of July 25th and August 6th, 2019, totaling $211,161.44 and $1,584,729.21 respectively. And again, the bills can't be paid until this town board approves it. All right, so before I open it to the public for any thoughts on their behalf, any town board thoughts or concerns on any of the resolutions before us tonight? Councilman George Perone's not with us tonight. He had a death in the family, so he's tending to that. All right, so for the 7 resolutions before us tonight, is there any member of the public that wishes to share their thoughts on any of those 7 resolutions before this town board tonight? Seeing none, any roll call requests from any of the resolutions before the town board tonight by any town board member? Hearing none, we'll consider all 7 resolutions together. Anyone like to put forward a motion to approve these 7 resolutions before us tonight?
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilman Medevere,
Second.
seconded by Councilwoman Switzer. Roll call vote, please, Caroline, on the 7 resolutions before the town board tonight.
Councilpersons Atherton,
Yes.
Switzer. Yes. Stroud,
Yes.
and Medevere.
Yes. Any correspondence?
No, I do not have any.
All right, privilege of the floor. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to speak to the town board about any town issue they wish to speak to the town board about. Yes, sir.
George Winters, 4 John Clennon Road. Let's see, the last time I was here, it said something about the lights. The next day I went down and they were both working. And I come up through there one night and it did work.
And we asked Dilsing, who is the firm that put in both lights for us,
Yeah,
to make sure that they're triggered only by oncoming operations, that we had gotten report that there may have been a malfunction in that.
yeah.
So they were supposed to have checked it and approved it, and it's supposed to be now only green, only if there's approaching traffic will it change.
Yeah, I did.
And
I've been by several times. It seems like it's working. Cars coming out of the school that will turn red and stuff, so it's good.
All right, so, and the school thinks it's working good, and the general public really likes the traffic flow through there now.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's always 1 or 2 who don't like the change.
Yeah.
But I think it will, in the long run, be operationally much better system. So I did check on that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, George.
Yeah, and then the lights on Main Street. I see there's 2 of them out already.
Well, checking on that, there was 1 out.
From Pine Street going up
Yes,
toward West
yes,
Elton.
one on Pine Street.
Yeah, up a ways, I think there was.
All right, I'll have to drive through and note that again because they are under warranty. The one on Pine Street is our problem because it needed new guts. There was some malfunction. So we're waiting for the replacement parts on that one. That's our call.
Yeah.
That should be the only light out. If there's another light out, and I'll check it tonight or tomorrow night and make the note of the location. That's still under warranty. We'll get back with them to have them change that out. Thank you for bringing that to me.
Yeah, but they're bright, but they're not that bright that it hurts your eyes coming up through. That's what I liked about it.
I thought we did pretty good. The only problem that I've noticed is that the crosswalks, you know, are not well lit.
Oh.
I was going through and there was a person crossing the crosswalk. I did catch them in time, but I said, if I hadn't been a little bit more alert, I would have missed that.
Yeah.
So I wish with some way we could light up the crosswalks better. But I agree with you. I think the tone generally is good.
Yeah. And then one other thing, the STAR program. Ross, I think that's a lady I talked to, and she explained it to me, but I believe there's so many people out in the town of Queensbury that don't understand it. My understanding is if I don't pay the whole bill when I go to pay my taxes, I'll lose that, say 2% or whatever. The state's gonna raise that this year. So I was wondering if it's possible to have her come and explain it, or somebody to the rest of the town. So, I don't know if I quite understand. That's the understanding I have.
So, yeah, so you'd like Terry to come and explain STAR program as it's administered, and are there any situations in which a person might lose their STAR exemption?
Yeah.
And I will ask Terry to see if she can come to the next town board meeting in the beginning, make that presentation, George.
Yeah. Because my understanding is, I don't know if you people know much about it or not, but I think that's an awful blow for the seniors.
Yeah, it is, George. Our assessor, who is recognized throughout the state, and as a matter of fact, was the president of the New York State Federation of Assessors.
Yeah.
Well respected. She gets called all the time from all over the state, her advice on matters. So she really is going to be a good person to kind of present.
Yeah, I'm not blaming it on her.
No, she's not happy that the state has taken over part of this, which used to be a local control thing.
Yeah.
She's not happy with that. But maybe I'll let her explain all of that and her concerns and what it does do and what it doesn't do. For example, making partial payment, do you lose your STAR exemption? That's a good concern. I'll see if she can speak to the public about that. That's a good suggestion.
At this time, I'd like to thank our state representative for allowing that. I know they probably voted it down, but to think that they voted themselves a 63% raise, and then we're paying for that every day.
Okay, thank you, George.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So that's it from the public, because George is the only one present. So let's move on to town board discussions, and this time let's start with Tony.
I have nothing to make, yeah.
Okay. Catherine.
I just have one announcement, which is the the next meeting for the Climate Smart Community will be next Wednesday, August 14th, 10:30 in the Supervisors Conference Room. Everyone is welcome.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Jennifer?
Just one quick item. I wanted to give a shout out to our water superintendent, Chris Harrington. He and some of the board members reached out to Chris as well to tell him a job well done on the completion of the 5 water tanks. It's something that happened that early on in the process, he received, and the town received, some criticism over the process. And it was done within 11 months. It did not include the winter season. We did not have to go out and borrow the money. This all came from some of our fund balance, again, which is sometimes we get criticized for. But this all came from funding and careful planning and a little bit of out-of-the-box thinking. So I wanted to, so I don't think sometimes we do enough to recognize all of those behind us in the scenes. And Chris is one of those people who does a lot and keeps our drinking water safe, and keeps it at obviously a very reasonable price for all of us to buy into. And I just wanted to thank him for his work and his department as well.
Yeah, that's a good thank you. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, it's my turn. All right, let me start off. I have a few things, not too much. Supervisors report to community and board. Steve Joyner came in. He's the one that has that ground-mounted solar on 64 Haviland Road, and and he said he owns it. It's not somebody else's ownership. And he's trying to clear up some misinformation. Stu Alan came in to discuss the proposed Glen Lake management plan, and he would like to help with that, and we would like his assistance on that matter. We met with the Department of Transportation, National Grid, and Chris Harrington to talk about Ridge Road. As you know, we would like to replace the water line because it's failing consistently, the water line between Quaker Road and Cronin Road. So we all took a walk. We parked in Rick's Bike Shop on the corner there of Ridge Road and Quaker Road, and we walked up Ridge Road to Cronin. And you could see the cuts in the pavement of the repeated breaking line. Our water superintendent, Chris Harrington, attributes that to possibly metals being used in the pipe following the war were not the best metals, and they lend themselves to corrosion and breakage, and he would like to replace the whole line. Now, part of that run from Quaker Road to Cronin along Ridge, National Grid has put their a National Grid gas line above our water line, which is not the healthiest of situations to be in. So they too said that their line, made out of steel, which they usually use plastic today, and was installed decades ago, probably needs replacing. So there are stone walls that need to be preserved. They have heritage significance, if not historic significance. There are terrain problems, there are utility problems, and on a good day, National Grid would like us to relocate all of the utilities off of the pavement area onto the sides. Well, in this case, that's not going to be easy, and we wanted to show them firsthand what we're trying to deal with and what we're trying to talk about when we talk to them. So they seem to agree that they would consider a betterment project in which the whole thing, the repaving and the remaking of Ridge Road, the relocating and the upgrading of the utilities, would all be done as one project. That will, one thing, solve all the problems that we pointed out, and two, it will be cheaper. As a big project, it'll be less expensive for us to replace that water line if it's all combined into one project. Same thing with National Grid. All right, so they're going to consider that. Chris Harrington is composing a letter, maybe with town council's help, to put together this request for a betterment project. So, okay. Then had a discussion, went over to Glenn's Tree Art for ribbon cutting. Now, he's been located there for a while, but he recently joined the Adirondack Regional Chamber of Commerce, and they have the ribbon cutting for his wood cutting. Now, he's my first-hand man who reports to me about the accidents that happened or nearly happened as Round Pond Road enters Route 9, and we have Great Escape and Martha's and everything else going on there. We had a town board workshop on July 22nd, a Monday. We talked about the peddler solicitor license. We talked about and interviewed someone who is one firm that outsources human resources. We discussed best value. We discussed the Bay Road speed limit. We discussed some zoning changes. We discussed Northwest Road stormwater issues. We discussed the nuisance law, CCA, and others. And we also reviewed the Main Street $1 Million LED lighting and where we were with that. On the next day, Tuesday, July 23rd, I met with some of the Queensbury seniors, administration, to discuss the possible pavilion that they would like to locate back here. It's early on. And then I was invited up to like an informational meeting at the Hidden Lake Girl Scout camp on the Luzerne Road. Now, part of it's in the town of Lake George, part of it in the town of Luzerne. I never knew existed. It's it's a beautiful camp. And they gave us some statistics. The number of girls entering Girl Scouts, unfortunately, is dwindling. They said one reason for that, and it's not a bad reason, but it's unfortunate, is that many girls are now going into sports that used to go into Girl Scouts, and now you don't have time for both because sports is so consuming. But the leadership that was making this presentation at this very beautiful camp off of the Luzerne Road. When I talk about Luzerne Road, I'm talking about, what is it, 9N?
Yeah.
On exit 21 as you go into Luzerne that way. I know we have a Luzerne Road here in Queensbury. That's not the one I'm talking about. That girls who become Girl Scouts tend to get more involved into STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, math, tend to go into leadership roles more so than other women. So the Girl Scout experience, I think, is a very valuable experience, and I just want to thank them for sharing. We got a tour of the camp and everything else. It was wonderful. Anyhow, so let's see. All right, we had a meeting with people in the town who were interested in attending. It was a WISP Q&A. Then we had a Rockhurst Community Septic meeting to discuss where are we with that and where we want to go. There's still huge support for going in that direction for a Rockhurst Community Septic wastewater. Then I called Chris Round and Chazen. I tasked them for a proposal for the Rockhurst septic design and the development of the map plan and report. I'll share that with the board when I get it. And I talked to Kwon Tang, K-O-A-N-T-A-N-G, from the DEC about the Lake George plan and Lake George Basin. What can DEC do to help us in developing that Lake George plan? And I talked to Connie Getter. We're supposed to go out, and Victoria was supposed to invite you to see if you can make it out, if you want to go on a little site visit to the Ogden Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
So the Ogden Cemetery is that old cemetery in the middle of the woods that we've agreed to take, and the Conservancy, the Queensbury Conservancy, has given us the easement to gain access to that finally, so we were able to finally take that. I talked to Jeff Speak from the DEC about grant funding. Jeff does outreach to communities, and so they have grants that offer trees for tributaries, stream bank restoration, urban community tree pruning, park management, and I thought that he would be best to sit down with Park and Rec and some members of the planning board and possibly myself and another town board member to explain what is available and along those lines from the DEC. So that meeting hasn't been organized yet. Then this is Friday, July 26th. I went up to the Lake George Land Conservancy President's Reception at the Bolton Historical Museum, and they gave out awards for noted folks who have helped Lake George in one manner or another. And then Jamie Brown gave me a thank you note for attending that reception, and then thanked us for our dedication to the protection of Lake George. And this comes from the Lake George Land Conservancy. And you have helped make a real permanent impact on the lake. The result of your contributions and support will be seen, felt, and enjoyed by many generations to come. So they're grateful for the support, look forward to working with us in the future. And then I attended the Warren County Safe and Quality Bicycle Organization. That's an advisory committee for the county, but it's about safe and quality bicycling in Warren County. And we had an informational package put together at the farmer's market. So I sometimes attend the farmer's market. I'm in and out. I get lettuce and tomatoes and whatever else I need, and then I'm out. This one, I had to be there from 8 o'clock to 12. Tony Kravitsky was also there, and Joan Jenkins, thank you. And so we really got the word out there. A lot of people found what information we had to share with them was very interesting. And so we appreciate that. Okay, on Monday, July 29th, I wrote a letter on behalf of the board for the Fund for Lake George. I called New York State DEC, and we talked about the Rush Pond Beaver Dam issue and what we could do about it. It appears, after everything's involved with that it's on state land, and so the state is taking care of that for us. Drafted a letter to the county. I didn't hear back from the board yet. I drafted a letter to the county requesting a lower Bay Road speed limit. Now, I only will forward that. I drafted the letter if the town board thinks it's worthy of making the request to the county, and then the county passes it on to the state. But I also think that I've passed on to you past efforts on this, and it usually is not fruitful. The state is not crazy about reducing speed limits on roads that are considered to be major arterials, like Bay Road, even Country Club. We made the request to the county, which makes the request to the state on our behalf. It's a county road. Bay Road and Country Club are both county roads. And the state usually says no. Doesn't merit a reduction of speed. And they don't like reducing speed on major arterials. That's a hindrance of traffic flow, and I don't know. So if the board wants to move forward with it, I will send that letter to the county, which if they agree with it, can send it to the state. And chances are we'll get the same letter back from the state that we have in the past. Okay. Then we had a meeting with the highway department. We discussed some personnel issues. We discussed the highway garage and the salt barn location. We discussed some of the culverts in the town that need upgrading. There's grant funding if you're upgrading your culverts to prepare them for future storm events, which we know are getting more hazardous. Also, there's the Top of the World Drive, you know, the driveway from Lockhart Mountain Road, which is their private drive. They're kind of wondering if we might be interested in taking ownership of it. I don't know, it was built to, town standards and so forth, but, it's something that I'll share with the board and we can consider. Hasn't been formalized yet. And talked about the speed signs. So, all right, since this is new to us, we now have the radar speed signs. Up in Warrensburg, I saw an interesting construction where there was a pole and the solar was mounted in the right direction, get the best benefit of the sun. Then the speed monitor, along with the speed limit sign of what they're supposed to be doing in that portion of the road, that quarter of the road. It was a nice setup. I don't know the details, so we're going to take the boxes apart. They haven't been taken apart. See if there's instructions. See if there's clamps. See if there's recommendations. Should it be a 2 3/8 inch galvanized pole, or what do they suggest? So we're going to take that apart. Victoria invited one of you to join me in doing that. talked with Chris Harrington. One of our, as we know, as we have wireless, Cellco, I think was the original company. It's changed companies. Was the original lease agreement we have with the water towers. And one of them is coming to term, but Chris Harrington wonders if we, how do we know what is a good deal or not? Maybe we should hire some professional help to give us some guidance on to that as we renew our lease agreements for these wireless transmitters. I discussed with Chris Belden, he's a planner at the county. As we're going forward with that 678 grant, which is supposed to be monies to help develop a comprehensive integrated master plan for Lake George Basin. One of the structures that we could have is have the Lake Champlain, Lake George Regional Planning Board act as the core administrator, and then they have a firm, strong scientific basis, but we would like some extra monies to be able to hire professional help who would be, like state-of-the-art people on giving us advice on what should we be looking for stormwater remediation and so forth. So that, when we develop Lake George's plan, it'll be one of the best in the state. So he's working on that. Because we want not only what are our goals, what are the management goals for the Lake George plan? What do we plan to accomplish? And then, what are going to be our management actions? Here's your goal. Here's how you get to the goal. All right, well, how do you know that your management plan's working? The state wants to know that. So they also want to know what methodologies you're going to have to monitor the effectiveness of your management plans. Are they a success? Are they making a difference? They want follow-up plans. So they don't want a comprehensive plan that's going to sit there on the shelf. They want a working, functional management plan. That's what we want too, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to work at getting it. I had an individual who said that his tree that was dedicated to his wife that was in the Hubby Pond Park is now missing. I guess, for whatever reason, it did die. Steve Lovering, Director of Parks and Recreation, is going to plant a new tree and a new placard dedicating it to his wife. And so we'll take care of that for him. I did talk to West Signs, and I asked them to update the school signs that recognize the Queensbury baseball state championship of 2018. I attended that same day on August 2nd. I attended the Lake George Land Conservancy's 20th Gala, which up to the Earl of West. Very nice. And I gave a donation for terrestrial invasive species, but nowhere near what the others were offering. I couldn't believe they were looking for, I think, $60,000 to advance control and management of terrestrial invasives, and they got more. That's a group of people that really support Lake George. I can't believe it. It's wonderful. All right, then Saturday, August 3rd, I went to, upon request, the 100th anniversary of New Way lunch, Dirty John hot dogs, as some of us call them. I think they prefer New Way lunch. But, I kind of, because you love them, you can't eat just one, And you have a hard time stopping at 3 or 4. I mean, I'm not speaking for you, I'm speaking for myself, I guess. But if you want to be honest with everybody, you're probably with me, right? In any event, they wanted me to bring my car there. My car is a 1929 Model A. It's only 90 years old. It's only 90 years old because the hot dogs, and they started in Glens Falls in 1919. And they're still here. I'm not saying the hot dogs are 100 years old today. I'm saying the firm, all right? It's a little joke there. So I want to congratulate the Gazzettos, the current owners and managers, and the whole families involved. I want to thank them. It was a wonderful time Saturday down there. And then today we have the town board meeting. All right, on to some other things I got from New York State Association of Counties. And Catherine, the 5 benefits of anaerobic digestion of food waste. Oneida Herkimer Food to Energy Facility is being proposed. Oh, no, the tour of it is being proposed. According to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, estimates discarded food constitutes 22% of municipal solid waste.
It does
Discarded food.
foods, right? Very higher than that.
Well, if you,
but,
yeah. Well, if you take a look in your garbage can,
Not
how
mine, I compost.
well,
So, like-
so do we, but I mean in general. A lot of your waste is made up of food, discarded food. All right, so more and more of the food is reaching landfills and incinerators than any other single material in our everyday trash. Learn how Oneida Herkimer Solid Waste Authority is changing this reality by joining us for a tour of their new food to energy facility in Utica, New York. That's Monday, September 9th, from 11 to 1, Sewage Plant Road, Utica, New York. So I'll forward this on to everybody.
Yeah, there's a worm farmer in Argyle, I think, who wants to start up a door collection for picking up your food waste.
Yeah, and I know there's an outfit in Schenectady too that are using food waste and turning it into compost.
Oh, I think Watervliet, is it?
Watervliet
I would say that.
is experimenting with
They
that. They have
pick it
a
up.
municipal pickup service.
Yeah.
And so one day a week, they have this particular container that you put out, and it's supposed to have food waste only in it.
Yep.
And they make a separate one to pick that up, with the idea of recycling it, making it into soil, full of nutrients that goes back into the fields, becomes corn, and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, if we could get food waste, and as you're saying, you've heard figures higher than 22%, and reduce food waste from our solid waste program, that'd be a huge plus.
Yep.
All right. So, now that's it for me. Any other, before we close? Anything else? Okay. I want to thank the members of the community, George, for attending. Post O. And Lynn Bosher as well. And Kathleen Moore from the Post-Star. Of course, Joel Barlow from Look TV. He's our cameraman. Town Council, Bob Hafner, and Town Clerk Caroline Barber, and town board members. Thank you all for attending. And if I can have a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Moved by Councilwoman Switzer, seconded by
I'll second.
Councilman Metabeer. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
We're now adjourned.
The following program is underwritten by the generous support of Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan Insurance. Since 1852, they have been assisting both businesses and individuals across the country secure the most comprehensive insurance products available. Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan are one of New York's largest independently owned insurance agencies. Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian-American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcomed. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.